Hi, thanks for joining us for the Family Plot, Gardening in the Mid-South. I'm Chris Cooper. If you're thinking about starting a garden next spring, now is a good time to start preparing the soil. Also, we're answering viewer questions. That's just ahead on the Family Plot, Gardening in the Mid-South.
Production funding for the Family Plot, Gardening in the Mid-South is provided by the WKNO Production Fund, the WKNO Endowment Fund, and by viewers like you. Thank you.
Welcome to the Family Plot. I'm Chris Cooper. Joining me today is Mr. D.
Howdy.
Good to have you, Mr. D.
It's great day to be outside, man. It's beautiful.
Nice day, wonderful day. Guess what we're gonna do today?
We're gonna play in the dirt.
We're gonna have a good time.
Yeah.
You ready for it?
I'm ready.
All right.
I'm ready.
We also did our soil test, right?
We did.
Talk
We
about
did the
soil
right
tests.
thing. We practiced what we preached.
That's right. So what does it look like?
Well, it looks pretty good. You know, we did the soil test this time. This time of the year is a good time to do the soil test, even though this is not the time of the year to apply fertilizer. However, it is the time of the year to apply lime. Any time is the time to apply lime if you need it. So the main reason we went ahead and checked the soil here is to try to determine whether or not we needed to adjust the pH any.
Okay.
Well, the pH is 7.83, so it's very high. We definitely do not need any lime. We have almost 5,000 pounds of calcium per acre out here, which is highly sufficient. Highly sufficient. But we do know now that we've done the soil test that next spring, before we plant the garden, we need to apply 15 pounds of triple 15 per 1,000 square feet. Now we've measured this and it is 25 feet long and 20 feet wide. So it just happens to be exactly 500 square feet. So we know that next spring we'll need to apply 7.5 pounds of triple 15 over this area for vegetables. That's what we need. So I think what we're going to do this year, the upper part to my right is fairly dry. And so we are going to go ahead and apply some soil amendments to that soil to open it up a little bit. This is 50% cotton burr and 50% leaf litter, I understand. And so we're going to put about 3 inches, a 3-inch cover, and till it into the soil on the upper part. The lower part is really too wet for us to do anything with. And so it's going to be a test. We're going to put our soil amendments out here in the fall on half of this 500 square feet. This lower half on the left, we're going to leave it and let it just lay here all winter. And then we're going to apply the soil amendments here, next spring, early next spring before we plant. Now, what we've done to this area already, about 10 days ago, we sprayed this area with glyphosate. The grass didn't completely turn brown. It yellowed up a little bit. And the reason is glyphosate is a systemic herbicide, you know, and it works best when plants are actively growing. Well, in the last couple of weeks, we've had some cool nights and cool weather, and so the Bermuda grass is kind of shutting down a little bit. It's still dead. I mean, the plant had taken up the glyphosate, and so it's still dead. So you don't have to wait until it's completely brown if you do that, apply it this time of the year. Then we went in here and tilled it yesterday, I think, is when we tilled it. And that's when we discovered that this is a little too wet to do anything to. So, so that's what we've done so far. So I think what we're ready to do now is start applying this cotton burr and leaf litter mix. We're going to try.
Looks pretty good, huh?
It looks really good. Yeah, it looks really good. It ought to. I mean, organic matter on this soil was 2.61%. So we would like to. This will get it on up there. If we can get to 5 or 6%, that would really be good. But we did learn that our phosphorus levels and potassium levels are medium, which is good. It's good. If we go with this triple 15 every year, we will eventually have extremely high levels of phosphorus. So that's why we're gonna follow this soil test report for about 3 or 4 years, and then we're going to retest, and at that time I predict the recommendation will change from triple 15 to 13-0-13 or 15-0-15. I predict we will have built the levels of potassium up high enough that we won't need to add potassium. And we do that for 2 or 3 years, that level will come down, and then we'll have to go with the balanced fertilizer again.
All right.
So, but if we could, it's why it's very important to soil test.
That's right.
And not every year. You don't have to do it every year. You know, this will last 3 or 4 years.
3 to 4 years.
But,
That's what they
but then
recommend.
we need to redo it. And
We're gonna hold you to those predictions. We're gonna see how good you are.
Write it
How about
down.
that?
Write it
Write it
down.
down. All right.
Okay. All right. So are we ready to do a little tilling and
I'm ready.
let's do it?
Let's do it.
Okay. We're going to dump this soil amendment out here. We want to spread it about 3 inches thick over this, but there's no need to take a shovel and sling this out. We're going to just dump it. I've got a rake, and we're going to spread it, and we'll check it every few inches, a few feet, and make sure it's about 3 inches thick. I think that'll do it.
You think that'll do it?
I think it will.
All right.
Well, we look like we've done a real good job. We've
Yeah.
got about a 3-inch cover of this soil amendment out here, and I'm about to crank up our machine here. We've got horsepower.
All right.
Or crank this thing up and see if I can mix this in a little bit with the soil.
Why did you go in different directions?
Better mix it.
Better mix it?
Mix it better. Keep it, and ideally, you go hit it again.
Okay.
You want to mix it as good as you can.
Right.
And if you kept going in the same direction, you might have the same ridges and all that.
Okay.
Why do you mow a yard in different directions?
Oh, my grass will stand up.
Huh?
Right.
Yeah, and also your wheel.
Yeah, you're not going to compact
pattern
it and all that. Right. Yeah. So what do you think?
Pretty good. It's pretty good shape, just like that. But I'd probably hit it one more time long ways. You know.
All right. It looks good though.
And you noticed I picked it up a little bit
Mm-hmm.
coming back, and
I noticed that.
kind of neaten it up a little, level it up a little bit. That's what I'm trying to do.
Mr. D, we appreciate you doing that for
Oh
us.
man, most welcome.
All right.
We'll see what it looks like. We'll see if we see any difference next year in the crop.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that. Yeah, I can't wait to see what it looks like next year.
Yep.
All right. Thanks a bunch, man.
All right, man.
All right.
Take care.
And now what about transpiration?
It's kind of like perspiration, sort of, for
Like
people.
sweating.
Yeah. But let's see, transpiration is the movement of moisture through a plant, originating probably from the roots, and then the moisture comes out all the way up through some cells in the leaves that are called stomata, and that at that time it's water vapor. The transpiration is the movement of moisture through the plant, and it's released as water vapor. And fruit even transpires. And it's you can put, for example, if you know how if you put some plant material or some cuttings in a plastic bag, and then if you've got them out where the sun hits them, which makes transpiration work faster because that triggers those cells to open, you know, and so the vapor comes out, and you'll get all that condensate, you know, in
the bag.
that's the result of transpiration.
Right.
And that's a good way to illustrate it to kids.
It
You
is.
know, this is how water moves through the plant and water vapor comes out.
Yeah. So the plant's essentially trying to cool itself.
Yeah. Yep. It's kind of like we kind of perspire, I
Right.
guess. Same thing. Sort of.
All right, Mr. D, we have a lot of viewer questions. They're good questions.
Yes, they are.
Are you ready for them?
Let's do it.
All right, let's do it. Here's our first viewer email. Should I do a separate soil test in different areas of my yard? And this is from Miss Bethany in Jackson. So, different areas of my yard, she wants to do soil tests. What do you think about that?
It depends.
It depends. That's what I thought.
It depends on how big your yard is. If it's more than 10 acres, you do. You need to do, you know, because the soil tests, if the soil conditions are the same, well, you can sample up to 10 acres with
Right.
one sample. If in your yard you know that your soil is pretty much the same all over your yard, and it probably is.
It probably is, right.
Then one sample is enough. The thing that's important to do is make sure that you list on that soil, on the form that goes in with your soil test, everything that you're going to grow in that yard, and you'll get detailed directions on how to treat the soil for depending on what you're going to grow. If you're going to have blueberries, list blueberries, blackberries, vegetables, turf grass, shrubs and ornamentals, just list everything that you will grow, and you'll get instructions on how to handle that. But the only reason I can think of you needing more than one sample in the yard is if you did a lot of grading, and in one area of your yard you did a lot of fill, you brought in a lot of topsoil and added it, then you might need to do another sample for that area. But in 99% of the home lawns that I've been associated with, one sample is good enough, and it'll last you 3 or 4 years, but after 3 or 4 years, you need to do that again.
Right, and I would agree. I think the soils are probably going to be the same.
That's right.
Right, okay. So I hope that helps you out, Miss Bethany. All right, here's our next viewer email. We planted some late potatoes and just began harvesting a few and have found that something is eating a lot of them. Who are we feeding? And this is from Claire, Midtown Memphis. So take a look at that, Mr. D.
Yep.
Who are they feeding?
That looks like voles, rodents.
Voles are the first thing that came to my mind.
Yeah, that's what that looks like to me. A furry little
underground,
critters in your potato.
yeah.
That's right. I mean, that looks like tooth prints.
All right.
And I've not seen any kind of insect that will do that kind of damage. I know there are wireworms.
They're wireworms, right.
And
They're grubs,
worms and things like that will damage potatoes, but they don't do damage like that.
Yeah.
Those are, they're doing quite a bit. I mean, that's about as bad as I've ever seen.
That is as bad as I've ever seen. Yeah, these are late potatoes, and of course they're in the ground, and your voles are going to be hanging out.
They just think they're mighty handy, I'm sure, if you're a vole.
So they just had a nice little buffet. That's what it looks like to me.
Right.
All right, so Ms. Claire, looks like voles to us. All right.
That's
Looks
voles
like,
with a V.
with a V, right?
Voles with a V.
And obviously they eat pretty good, right?
Right.
All right, here's our next viewer email. It's fall, and my fruit trees have started to put out new leaves and are blooming. They also have this clear, sticky jelly on the limbs. What do I do about this? Will this ruin my trees? And this is from Miss Elizabeth in Marianna, Arkansas. So it's fall, fruit trees are leafing out. But she has this clear, sticky jelly. I think we know what that is, because you've talked about this before.
Yeah. I think anything that's leafing out and blooming now, the fall of the year is under a lot of stress, and it's trying to survive, and it's kind of a last-ditch effort, making a last-ditch effort trying to survive. I would bet that these are either peaches, plums, or nectarines or something like that, and they are probably infested with peach tree borers. If that gum is coming from some of the smaller branches in the upper part of the tree, then it's the lesser peach tree borer.
Okay.
And then the regular peach tree borer or greater peach tree borer bores into the stem and trunk and lower limbs and down near the soil line sometimes. The lesser, or the ones in the upper part of the plant, probably won't kill the tree, but the ones down in the trunk can kill the tree. And the fact that the plant is blooming and leafing out right now tells me that they're probably both of those borers are present.
Cool.
And not a whole lot you can do about that right now. Not a lot that you can do about it. I think you probably lost those trees. Next year, if you will spray with an insecticide that has some residual activity, in July, that's when the adults are laying eggs. June and July, 2 or 3 applications, a couple of week intervals, that might prevent that from happening. But it's a tough situation trying to grow peach, plums, and nectarines in a home lawn situation. It's really hard to do.
And what is that spray? You know what that is?
Actually, the last one, and at last time I looked, Dursban was still on the market. And that's, commercial growers can still use Dursban, Chlorpyrifos. And for homeowners, I'm not real sure. We probably need to check on that.
I think it's Astro, which is permethrin.
Okay.
Yeah, permethrin. Yeah.
I don't know how much residual that's got.
Yeah, I don't know how much is in there.
But
I think
that's not going to help you right now because the borer is in that tree right now, and you're not going to get any insecticide in there. One time there was they were trying to develop a nematode that was a parasitic nematode that you could spray it around and inject it, kind of try to get it into the tree, and it had shown a little bit of promise, but I've not heard anything about that lately, so I don't know whether that's...
Not either.
Don't know whether that panned out or not. Afraid it didn't. Anything that sounds too good to be true usually is.
It usually is.
Yeah.
All right, so there you have it, Miss Elizabeth. Might it be too good for that tree? All right. Here's our next viewer email. What do I use to kill scale on my crepe myrtle? And this is Miss Anita.
In Cordova.
Cordova.
Yeah, so you can handle that, can't you?
Yeah, I think we talked about this a lot, for those crepes. Here's the deal. This time of the year, I wouldn't do anything, right? I would wait until spring, and we're talking April, May, June, to treat with one of the systemic drenches, right? Systemic insecticide. Bayer, makes Bayer Advance, of course, makes a product that you can use that contains imidacloprid. Okay. There's another one, Safari, which is dinotefuran,
Right.
All right, which actually gets into the vascular tissue of the plant a lot quicker. It gives you the bell-shaped burst, but you're gonna have to reapply.
Right.
With the imidacloprid, you have a longer lasting residual.
Yeah.
But I would do that again spring because your trees are gonna be actively taking up
Right.
nutrients and water, right?
Is there any value in putting a dormant oil on crepe myrtle during the wintertime?
You can do that in the wintertime with the dormant oil because the thing about the crepe myrtles are this. Actually you can see them because the leaves are falling off, so you can see the structure real good. You can see the cracks and crevices, so you can actually get good coverage.
Yeah.
Is it 100%? No.
No.
No. So you're still gonna have to follow up with one of the drenches.
Right.
Right. And I know that from experience.
Right.
Right. So you're still gonna have to do that.
Yeah.
Right. Because again, the oils, they work, but they're not
They help.
100%.
Maybe help a little bit.
Right. So those are the products that you're gonna have to use, Miss Anita, but I wouldn't use those until late spring, early summer. All right? Here's our next viewer email. Why or what is causing branches of my pecan tree to fall off? This is the only one of many branches that I've found on the ground that look like they have been cut. And this is from Tom in Bartlett. It's a good picture there, Mr. Tom. We know what that is.
We know definitely for sure what that is. That's a pecan twig girdler. Very, very common. And if you have pecans or oaks or hickories or anything like that, they're very common. Very common. The adult emerges in late August through October. So that's why we're seeing all those limbs now under the tree. The adult will start girdling on that twig, and most of them are pencil-sized, 3/8 inch in diameter. Some of them are a little bit bigger, but most of them are from about 3/8 inch in diameter.
Right.
And she will start laying eggs. She'll lay eggs out toward the end of the twig, and most of those twigs will have from 2 to 8 eggs in them. Some of them have been found to have 40 eggs in them.
Oh, that's a lot.
But she will girdle around that, and she won't cut it completely. And that's one way you can really tell that it's the twig girdler that did it. She will leave the very inside of that, twig attached to the tree, and then when a windstorm comes, it'll break it off.
Break off, right.
And the egg will hatch, and the larvae will feed on that branch that's laying there on the ground. It will feed there, and then will pupate and emerge next year as an adult next August. So, to control them, theoretically, you ought to be able to pick up every one of those
That's right.
and destroy them, burn them, grind them up, or something like that. Unfortunately, the adult is a longhorn wood borer, about 1/2 inch, 5/8 inches long, and has the antennae are longer than the body, are longer than the body of the borer. They're pretty strong flyers, so they can cover territory. And if you pick all these up in your yard, you need to go out in the woodlots next to you and pick them up. You need to go to your neighbor's yard and get theirs too. Because, and then even if you do that, probably wouldn't. They're still going to fly in there. They're going to search out the pecan trees, and they really like them. But we do not recommend spraying insecticide to control them.
And that's what I thought.
No
So just practice good sanitation, right?
Good sanitation. Get them up and don't. This is something you don't compost.
Right.
Yeah,
okay.
you don't pile them up in a brush pile for the rabbits to hide under, because they will hatch out and you'll have a lot more, you'll get more and more and more. But I can tell you that I pick all mine up and I burn all mine, and I have them every year. I don't think I have as many as I used to have, though. I really don't. I mean, I don't think I have as many. I've had it, maybe this year I don't have as many as I've had.
Right.
So maybe I'm beginning to do some good.
Yeah. But you pick them up like you just
I
mentioned.
pick them up, but I don't go out in the woods next to the house and pick them up out there. And I have pecan trees out there and hickories and everything out there. So I'm not going to do that.
So there you have it, Mr. Tom. All right. You had to practice good sanitation and pick those up. All right. Do like Mr. D is doing. You'll be fine.
Yeah.
All right. Here's our next via email. How do you prune grapevines? And this is from Richard right here in Memphis. So grapevines. What's the best way to prune? And when do you need to prune them?
You need to prune them in late winter. Late winter, near the end of your last frost.
Okay.
So we're talking about March 15th,
Right.
February 15th, March 15th. Somewhere in that. So it's well before your last frost, but late winter, after the hard freezes are gone.
Okay.
After the hard freezes are gone, and you never prune within 48 hours when a hard freeze is forecast. You just don't do that. Put your pruning shears up, and but with grapes fruit on current season's growth that comes from 1-year-old wood. So if you keep that in mind, current season's growth out of 1-year-old wood, and I think all grapes do that, muscadine and bunch type.
Okay.
So if you go to every long vine, long runner or long cane, whatever you want to call them, and you go all the way back to where it came out of the mother plant.
Okay.
Leave 2, 3, 4, 5 buds and cut it off. All that you're leaving is next year will be 1-year-old wood.
Okay.
Now, if you go all the way back and you cut it off, all of it, and you severely prune it and you cut it all the way back to larger stems, to 2-year-old wood, then next year all the wood you're going to have is current season's growth out of 2 and 3 or 4-year-old wood. How many grapes do you think you're going to have?
Oh my goodness, none.
You'll have none.
Yeah.
So current season's growth out of 1-year-old wood. So you can prune it all the way back and thin them out. Some of them, don't leave every one of those stub 2 or 3 inches with 2 or 3 buds on it. Give them 6 or 8 inches between them. Open them up a little bit.
Okay.
And so some of them you take back all the way to older wood, but the ones that you want to fruit, for the most part, go back and leave from 2 to 4. With muscadines, 2 or 3 buds is plenty. Some of the bunch types you want to leave 5 buds. It's easy to see, and cut it. And you will be taking out 90% of the vine when you do that, and you're still leaving a lot of this year's wood, which next year will be 1-year-old wood.
All right. So don't fret. I mean, it'll come back.
Right.
And it looks like it's a lot. I mean.
Yeah. And even if you had last year, if you didn't have any grapes this year because you went back and you pruned all of the new wood off, everything that's out there now will fruit next year. If the buds that come out of what grew this year will fruit next year. So there's hope for next year.
There's hope for next year. All right. Well, there you have it, Mr. Richard. There's hope. All right. Here's our next via email. I have a pecan tree that the squirrels just love. Most of the time they chew on the pecans and then drop the remainder to go to waste. However, over the last 3 years, we found perfectly shelled pecans on the ground, no bite marks or anything. They look like they were shelled by a mechanical sheller. I will find a couple a day. What is going on? If we didn't live where we do, I would get rid of them by Mr. D's method. Thanks, and this is from Jerry and Miss Dorothy in Bartlett. So they didn't live where they live, Mr. D. They will use your method.
There are silent ways. There are powerful BB guns out there nowadays. But I would think that squirrels are doing that. I mean, have you ever been at a ball game, sitting there at the ball game, eating peanuts, and you shell a peanut, and you get, it's a big old peanut, and all of a sudden you drop one. And you're just getting ready to pop in your mouth. Well, squirrels are the same way. And I'll bet you, the reason they don't see many of those is because most squirrels, when they drop a perfectly good pecan, they will go down the tree on their way out and grab it and eat it.
You didn't pick it up?
But I'll bet you when they see one or two like that, they walked up under that tree and they surprised Mr. Squirrel, and he got nervous, and as he was scooting away, he dropped a pecan, and he's quiet now. He's up there and he's hiding from you, and so that's probably what happened. But BB guns and pellet guns have really, technology has improved them quite a lot, and you might want to consider that. I mean, you just want to burn them, chase them away is all you want to do, really. You know.
Would that still require the 12-year-old though?
12-year-old would help. They have more patience and time on their hands.
All right, so Mr. Jerry, Miss Dorothy, you hear from Mr. D, right?
12-year-old with a BB gun or a pellet gun. You know, in urban environment.
In the urban environment. Yeah. That's right. Mr. D, we're out of time. It's always fun to have you here with us.
I enjoy it. It's always a pleasure.
All right, thank you much. Remember, we love to hear from you. Send us an email or letter. The email address is familyplot@wkno.org, and the mailing address is Family Plot, 7151 Cherry Farms Road, Cordova, Tennessee 38016. Or you can go online to familyplotgarden.com. That's all we have time for today. Thanks for joining us. For more information on what we talked about today, go to familyplotgarden.com. I'm Chris Cooper. Be sure to join us next week for the Family Plot, Gardening in the Mid-South. Be safe.